All right, thanks again for staying with us on Business Rendezvous on Independent Television. I have with me now Nabil Obagedo, is a political scientist, public affairs commentator, and analyst. Thank you for joining us, Nabil.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, two quick things happened yesterday as it relates to this use of old Naira notes. The CBN gave a press release ordering commercial banks to immediately start, accepting Nigerians should start, using them for transactions, as it were. And then one of the media aide to Mr. President came out to say that the president never gave orders to the CBN governor and the Attorney General not to obey the Supreme Court judgment. So why these delays? And we're trying to make just trying to make a comparison between what has happened this long with the Naira swap deal, where the president became mute, the CBN governor became mute, Attorney General, everybody just became mute, and Nigerians were wallowing in real hardship, to what just happened on Friday in America. Silicon Valley Bank, went down, Signature Bank went down. Immediately we saw Joe Biden responding to those issues, giving a broadcast to address this issue. I'd like to get to take along those lines.
Right. First and foremost, we know that in every political system, we always have the economic segment where we try to apply the definition of economics and other elements of economics. If you want to look at economics, you will not be saying that economics is the generation, the production and distribution of goods and services, and several other definitions like that. But one important aspect of economics that have to do with the development of the state is the fiscal policy of the government, which is under economics, where the central bank and the economic sector, maybe you have economic planning, budget and planning, and whatever, finance, they work together to ensure that there's a robust fiscal policy that will lead to economic growth and that will transform the economy, control the circulation of currency, control inflation, and the rest of them. And so, because Nigeria is practicing, let me just say, a capitalist system of government, like we have in America, the government is expected to regulate the sector, even though they work hand in hand with the organized private sector during that process of regulation. Now, the government came up with the idea of a cash policy, and that cash policy, it takes us back to the issue of the organs of government and the function they perform. There is rule making because there's a legal framework guiding that process. There's the rule making, and the rule has been made for the establishment of the Central Bank and the Central Bank Act. That is the function of the legislature. Then the executive will now have to implement that policy, which the president and the CBN governor, in line with some provisions of the CBN Act, decided to come up with the cash policy. In the first instance, we did not expect the president to speak when the matter was already in court. And that was why the other day the president was giving a speech. I was telling some people who were around me while listening to the speech that this speech that the president is giving now is unknown to law.
The subjudice.
Yes, he was trying to arrogate to himself the powers of the court, a matter that was already pending before the apex court, which is the final authority. And I thank goodness that even when the Supreme Court was coming up with the judgment, they made reference to that broadcast, and they decided heavily on the president for trying to be dictatorial and authoritarian by usurping the functions of another level of government. Now, I believe that it is as a result of the anger of the way the Supreme Court decided on the president and the CBN that made them to keep quiet. Otherwise, they came to court with their lawyer. And their lawyer was a former Attorney General of the Federation. We expected that, because he said it after the ruling, that they were going to advise their clients to obey the court order. So from that time, from on the 3rd of March till on the 12th of March, that's about 9 days.
Yes.
So why did they not now come up with the statement that they are coming up with now? Because they are seeing the hardship on the common man, because where policies are implemented, it takes us back to the issue of elitism. Policies are not always targeting the interests of the elite. They are targeting the interests of the masses. Otherwise, since I've been going to banks, I know we have House of Assembly members in Edo State, we have a governor in Edo State, we have highly placed persons in Edo State. I've not seen any of them in any bank premises. And yet they have access to money. How did they get the money? So you see now that the policy is having its negative effect on the common man. And it goes to show that those that are at the aim of affairs should always have the interests of the people at heart. It is the interest of the people at heart that the leadership is supposed to have, that the American president has just demonstrated. When he saw that a certain part of the banking sector was collapsing, he decided to make a statement to assure the citizens of the United States who have invested in this bank that their investment are
secured.
safe. That is leadership.
All right, let me pause you, Nabil. I will take a short pause now. Many thanks again for rejoining us on Business Rendezvous on Independent Television on the concluding part of the program. Our guest analyst is still with me in the studio, Nabil Obahedo. Nabil, thanks again for staying with us.
Thank you for having me.
We're looking at the plight of Nigerians based on the Naira redesign policy. The expectation is high that at least with the situation of things today, based on the press release by CBN, normalcy would have returned. At least people will start accepting the old 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira notes for transaction. You feel that way too?
Yes, I believe that because the people have been waiting, some of the people I've interacted with in different places have been saying that they are waiting for Mr. President to speak, that if Mr. President did not speak, they are not going to accept the old 500 and 1,000, they are still accepting the 200. But now that Mr. President has spoken, even though he did not address the nation as he did the previous time.
Was that good enough considering the pressure and the tension this has created for Nigerians in the last couple of days?
Yes, it's not good enough. The president would have addressed the nation, even if it is for 5 minutes. He would just say, oh, based on the judgment that will be delivered by the Supreme Court, which is the apex court, and in line with the government's respect for the rule of law, even though the government may not have respected rule of law before. They will just say, because of the respect of rule of law, we urge the central bank and all other banks and all Nigeria to accept this 500 Naira note, 1,000 Naira, 200 Naira note as legal tender till the end of this year, as stipulated by the Supreme Court judgment.
Okay.
But he fails to do that. That's why the extension. And until this yesterday, some persons will go to the bank will give them old notes. When they now return the old note back to the bank will not accept it. So I don't know what the banks wanted the people to do with the old note, whether to go and eat it or to go and burn it. But now that the central bank itself and the presidency have issued statements, I believe that the banks, the deposit bank, the commercial banks, will now have to obey the court order based on directive from the president and the CBN to caution the effect that this cashless policy will be having on the common man, on some small-scale businesses. For example, if you are traveling from here to Auchina or from here to Lagos, the people that used to sell along the road, maybe granite, plantain chips, egg roll, all those petty traders along the road, even those that sell cola nut and bitter cola.
Yes.
They find it difficult to sell because people don't have cash to buy.
Yeah.
And some of them, they don't have network, they don't even have account for them to say, okay, pay into my account.
Yes.
And because of the fraudulent nature of online banking, the way people hack into people's account, people don't even want to, they don't want you to be paying into their account. They want you to either give them cash or you look for a way to transact the money the way they will feel safe. Okay. That the money will get into their account. And I believe that the situation will change from today.
Okay, so that's the huge expectation. And I was concerned by the press release by one of the media aide of Mr. President saying that at no time the Mr. President stopped the CBN governor or the Attorney General from not obeying the Supreme Court order. Is that statement not too late, considering the fact that this is something that Nigerians expected for a long time, to douse the tension and put to rest the issue of acceptance or non-acceptance of the old Naira notes?
You see, I wonder sometimes people that occupy leadership positions in the developing countries, especially countries like Nigeria, Cameroon, and some other countries. You occupy position to provide leadership. Just now, we have seen how the American president, as old as he is, he has provided leadership to the American people by imbuing confidence in them that their investments are safe, just to down station across the country.
Okay.
And we expect that when such decisions are taken in Nigeria, especially as it relates to the Supreme Court judgment, we expected the president to immediately, because the former Attorney General, who was their lawyer in that case, said they are going to advise their clients,
yes,
to obey the order of the court, because the Supreme Court is the apex court. That is the last court and the highest court. And I believe that they have addressed them accordingly. But they have to wait until almost 2 weeks before they are able to take action. That is unnecessary and is highly condemnable. Because if a president is sick here, they will be hiding the sickness. But if a president is sick in America and other places, the spokesperson will just come out and address the government press and say, Mr. President has been sick for some few hours now. He's undergoing
medical attention.
Just to let the American people know, or the British people know, or the other countries know. But here in Nigeria, a president will be sick, will travel abroad, they will carry the jet and go and hand the jet at the airport in another country. They will be flying doctors from other parts of the world to that place where the president is receiving treatment. And they will still be telling you that the president is not sick, or that the president just went for routine medical rest, yes, and all those things. I don't know what we are hiding.
Okay.
So I believe that from that, maybe with this new incoming government that we are going to have, things will change.
Okay. Well, I want to say big thanks to you, Neville Obakedo. I mean, such a short notice, availing us your time on Business Rendezvous. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's our discussion segment on the show. But just before we call it a wrap, let's quickly look at a major talking point on the program today. The Edo Refinery and Petrochemical Company Limited, ERPC, has placed an order for the supply of 150,000 barrels of crude oil from Decla Resources Incorporated and Millennium Oil and Gas Company to meet the demand of its growing clientele base as demand for its products spikes in the downstream sector of Nigeria's oil industry. The firm developed the refinery with the support from the Governor Godwin Obaseki-led administration through a Memorandum of Understanding MOU. The crude is sourced from Oza Oil Field, which is operated by Decla Resources Incorporated and Millennium Oil and Gas Company Limited. The Edo State Refinery is a 6,000 barrels per day capacity plant, which is being expanded to 21,000 barrels per day. The facility with its feedstock can produce 50% of diesel, that's about 500,000 liters, 25% of naphtha, 300,000 liters, and 20% of low poor fuel oil, LPFO, 200,000 liters. Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Decla Resources Incorporated, Sami Famoyide, in a statement said Decla and Millennium are at an advanced stage of executing a new 150,000 barrels per day crude oil sale and purchase agreement with ERPC, which is expected to include terms for invoicing and payment after the delivery of each cargo of 10,000 barrels per day of crude oil. He added, we are very pleased that payments for the sale of crude oil from the Oza field continue to be received. Deliveries to ERPC in Edo State are ongoing on a consistent basis, and the anticipated doubling of the contracted truck fleet is expected to enable the company and other co-venturer, Millennium, to increase the volume and consistency of deliveries of oil to market. The additional trucking capacity is also expected to create opportunities for additional delivery of crude oil to other potential customers in the near term. And that's the package for today on Business Rendezvous. Be sure to join us tomorrow for a fresh installment of the program. I'm Sonny Duke Okosun, standing in for your regular anchor, Dennis Ofik. Have a great day ahead. Bye for now.